Now, Religion in the News, a report and comment on religious trends and events being covered by the media. This week's item is from Religion News Service, September 29th, 2007, with the headline, Some Evangelicals Go Green. The following are excerpts. When Harry Jackson saw melting glaciers and devastated forests on a recent trip to Alaska, he decided global warming should be a higher priority on his list of key issues for evangelicals. I thought the globe was warming, but I thought that there was a whole lot of hype attached and there were not a lot of practical solutions presented, said Jackson, pastor of a megachurch in Beltsville, Maryland. The trip to Alaska was a bit of a road to Damascus moment for Jackson, a leading voice among conservative black pastors. Earlier this year, he had gone on CNN to question environmentally friendly evangelical leaders and joined a protest against Richard Chiswick, the green-minded vice president of the National Association of Evangelicals. But now, after traveling with scientists and evangelicals on a week-long trip last month, sponsored by Harvard Medical School and the NAE, Jackson is ready to work to bring evangelicals from the left and right together to address reducing carbon emissions and oil use. I believe we can kind of come to a working agreement on an environmental agenda, he said. Jackson, though moved by the sight of an Eskimo village losing island homes to storm surge erosion, remains hesitant to embrace some energy-reducing recommendations. But he admits he's a changed man who better understands the need for environmental justice. You're not going to change this problem by turning lights off so many hours a day, said Jackson, who also flew over forest eaten up by spruce bark, beetles whose reproductive rates have increased with warmer temperatures. Other evangelical leaders are being outspoken in other ways. Progressive evangelical pastor Rob Bell, who leads Mars Hill Bible Church in Granville, Michigan, recently concluded a summer sermon series on God is Green. Bell preached on the environment for 5 years and made family lifestyle changes such as downsizing from 2 cars to 1 and swapping a clothes dryer for a clothesline.
Dave, it seems to me that, based on what I've read, based on what I observe, that indeed the world is going through this earth is going through a warming phase. But what I've read is it does that periodically, okay? Maybe centuries apart. But that's what happens. The question is, why are we sort of mustering the troops, thinking that we can change this world and its environment by cutting back on emissions? Not that some of this isn't good, because you don't want to live in a city that has smog and so on. But is this Harry Jackson talks about a whole lot of hype. He used to think it was a lot of hype. Well, it is a lot of hype. But what do we do about it? And are there things that we can do about it, or are we creating much ado about something that we honestly can't control?
We're not the only country in the world. We do use an awful lot of energy, an awful lot of petroleum and so forth. Mm-hmm. But I remember being in the Soviet Union back in those days and talk about smog. I mean, what they did to the environment was wicked. At least we're not quite that bad. I mean, you got trucks belching black smoke everywhere. But
you might as well add China to that.
Yeah.
Our Olympics are going to be an interesting, not our Olympics, but the Olympics are going to be interesting just for that basis. Try to breathe there.
I understand some athletes are backing out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to kill themselves. I think just one volcano can send more contamination into this atmosphere.
We weren't living in Central Oregon when Mount St. Helens blew. Right. I've talked to people that have. Boy, that was tough.
Yeah, but there are gases that are out there still, I presume. They eventually disperse. But, Tom, I have studied this in the past, and I must confess that I have not brushed up on it. I didn't know we were going to have this news item. But
well, you knew that Al Gore just got the Nobel Peace Prize for his work and his efforts to curb global warming.
Yes. Well, there are many scientists who disagree, very strongly disagree.
Right.
And they say exactly what you just said. It goes through cycles. And there are periods of warming. And then we all could go into another ice cycle as well.
Right.
And the polar ice cap could build up tremendously in a short time.
Dave, we've got an article about one scientist. His belief is, I think he's a Russian scientist, that he sees the same thing happening on the planet Mars, that they're going through the same warming trend. So obviously you can't say that man is causing this. Man's not causing what's going on Mars. He says it's because of the sun, things that are taking place on the sun. Now, let's get back to, we just have a few minutes left here, but let's go to Rob Bell, since we've been talking about the emerging church. He's an emerging church leader. He says God is green. What does that mean?
Well, I guess God likes green things, and he wants us to
be environmental.
For more information about the Berean call us toll-free at our order number or visit our website